I am John Paulson. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem. I sit in when the mayor's not here. He's a bit under the weather today, so he decided to stay home, and at least he's not, whatever he's got, he's not passing on to all of us. So hope he gets better soon. With that, I'm calling the meeting to order for the Public Facilities Authority for Tuesday, March 17, 2026. Will the Secretary please make the announcements and call the roll?
Good evening. Just a reminder to everyone in attendance, please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices at this time. As I call roll, please confirm your attendance. Chair Rusty Pauls, absent. Member John Paulson.
Here.
Member Melody Kelly. Here. Member Melissa Mueller.
Here.
Member Frank Roberts.
Here.
Member Mary Ford.
Here.
Member Andrew Chinsky.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Chair Pro Tem, I move that we approve the meeting agenda for the Public Facilities Authority for Tuesday, March 17th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, the motion to approve the meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Yes. I want to make a motion to approve. I'm just going to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes. Agenda item PFA 2026-01.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving to new business. Will the Secretary read the first item?
This is agenda item number PFA 202602, consideration of a resolution to approve the contract award to Reeves Young for construction manager at risk for Fire Station number 1 and Fire Station number 4, and to authorize the negotiation of a contract for the same, and to authorize the Public Facilities Authority General Manager to execute the contract. This is presented by Director of Facilities and Capital Construction, Dave Wells.
Good evening, Chairman Paulson, members of the PFA. Tonight I bring you before you a recommendation to award contract with Reeves Young for the construction of Fire Stations 1 and 4. The City conducted a two-step solicitation process to select a construction firm with the capacity and demonstrated experience to provide construction manager at risk services for the construction of 2 new fire stations, Fire Station 1 located at 1425 Spalding Drive and Fire Station 4 located at 5275 Roswell Road. On December 10th, 2025, the City issued a request for qualifications to solicit statements of qualifications from highly qualified and experienced firms to perform the services described in the RFQ. Responses were due on July 22nd. The City received responses from the following 8 firms: Braston Cook Company, Benning Construction Company, Carroll Daniel Construction Company, Hoare Construction LLC, Hogan Construction Group LLC, John W. Spratlin and Son LLC, Manhattan Construction Company LLC, and Reeves Young LLC. An evaluation committee consisting of the following City personnel evaluated the responses using their criteria established in the RFQ. Myself, Dave Wells, Chief Sanders, the City's Fire Chief, and Richard Collins, the City's Construction Manager. Based on the evaluation criteria outlined in the RFQ, 7 firms were determined to be qualified and were invited to participate in the second phase of the solicitation process. On February 3rd, the City issued a request for proposal to the 7 qualified firms to solicit proposals from the CMAR services. Proposals were due on February 18th. The City received proposals from all 7 firms. The evaluation committee reviewed and scored the proposals based on the following criteria established in the RFP. Project understanding and approach, 10%. Schedule statements of services, 10%. Project manager and project team, 25%. Pre-construction services, 25%. And quality assurance, quality control, and safety was 10%. After reviewing the technical services, we opened up the fee cost, which were 20%. The 4 highest ranked firms following an initial evaluation were as follows. Reeves Young was top scorer on technical services and lowest price. John W. Spratlin was second with the highest price. Hogan, third, and Carroll Daniel Construction was fourth. Following the initial scoring of the proposals, the 4 highest-ranked firms were invited to participate in a formal interview process, presentation with the Evaluation Committee on March 2nd. During the interviews, each firm was given 30 minutes to provide an overview of its proposed project team, relevant experience, approach to pre-construction services, and overall project delivery strategy. Each firm also addressed questions from the Evaluation Committee to clarify aspects of its proposals. Following the presentation, the discussion among the Evaluation Committee members, Reeves Young LLC was determined to be the highest-ranked firm. Several factors contributed to the determination, including the following. Reeves Young's project team is led by a project executive with more than 25 years of municipal construction experience and extensive experience constructing public safety facilities, including fire stations and other municipal buildings. The proposed project team members have previously worked together on multiple projects, demonstrating strong collaboration and established working relationships that contribute to effective project delivery. The firm has successfully completed several projects with the city, including fire stations 2 and 4, police headquarters, Fleet, and Veterans Park. They have previously collaborated with Hussey Gay Bell, the architect selected for this project, and bring extensive experience with the construction manager at risk delivery method, consistently delivering projects on schedule and under budget. Staff's recommendation to the Public Facilities Authority is to approve a resolution to authorize a contract award to Reeves Young LLC for construction manager at risk services for the construction of the new fire stations 1 and 4.
Thank you. You've heard the report by our Director of Facilities. What's the desire of our members?
All right, Member Paulson, or Chairman Pro Tem Paulson. I want to move approval of Agenda Item PFA 2026-02. This is a resolution to approve a contract award to Reeves Young for construction manager at risk services for Fire Station Number 1 and Fire Station Number 4, and to authorize the negotiation of a contract for same, and to authorize the Public Facility Authority General Manager to execute the contract.
We have a motion by Dr. Kelly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Mueller. Any discussion?
I have just a
Yes, Dr.
quick
Kelly.
question. Assuming this passes tonight, what sort of timeline are we on for construction? I'm sorry if you've already said that.
To begin construction?
Yeah.
So Fire Station 4 will go first, and we're expecting to be in the ground sometime in August. And then Fire Station 1 will be about 2 months behind that.
Okay. And construction, we're looking at 24 months
Actually, we are hoping to have the construction finished by next December
for Fire Station 4.
and 1.
Oh, okay.
December 27?
December 27, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a couple questions. Thank you for going through the detailed review process that you all did to select this one. Can you describe the next steps for the neighborhoods surrounding Fire Station 4 to see the design and have the review of that process?
Yes. By the end of the month, we should have 3D renderings, and then the chief with the architect will be meeting with the neighborhoods.
So
That's coming
sometime
up.
in April,
Probably April, May timeframe.
May. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor of agenda item 20, hang on a minute. PFA 2026-02, resolution to approve contract award to Reeves Young for construction manager at risk services for the Fire Station Number 1 and Number 4, and for negotiations to contract for the same, authorize the Public Facilities Authority manager to execute the contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion carries. Go hit it, Dave. All right, there's no further, okay, there we go. No further business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Chair Paulson, I move adjournment.
Ms. Mueller moves adjournment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Andrew Chinsky is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. 6:10. All right, one down. All right. The second item is the work session for tonight. And I want to start with the first item on the work session, which is the recognition of the 2026 Sandy Springs Citizens Leadership Academy graduation. This is the third class. I think it's the third class. We had dinner with these folks about a week ago, and everybody's excited, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. If you would, if you're here, when I call your name, would you please come down to the front and stand by the podium here, because we're going to take everybody's picture when we're done. So with that, Celie Bullis and Jim Bullis, please come forward. Bill Callen, come forward. Sherry Collins, Riley Cooper, Stacy Fialco, Kate Floyd, Michael Gundy, Stephen Hickey, Vivek Yah, Julius Johnson, Stephen Kaplan, Brendan Liu, Justin Majors, Risa Matthew, Kim McNamara, Nicole Motahari, Leslie Mullis, Margot Parr, Frank Roberts, and Franco, and Janice Roberts, Pam Rosenthal, Vladimir Schlosky, Sabina Sims, James Soggs, Michelle Sullivan, Paul Terlemesian, Andrew Treef, Chrissy Williams, and Chris Thorne. All right, council, let's stand up and go get a picture taken.
Those of us who are short this week will bump so that way we can have two clean lines. So everybody, find your window so we can see everybody's face.
And I can get everybody to turn around and face this way.
So that's our third graduating class. Eden, when is the next class? When is the sign up for the next leadership class?
We will be opening for applications later in the summer, so people should stay tuned for that. The next series will begin after school starts back in September.
Perfect, after school starts.
Yep.
All right, so anybody interested? And those that just graduated, you're not done. You need to go out and tell everybody in your neighborhood about our city and what you learned. This is you're a very powerful force now for the city's recognition. All right. Next, staff discussion items. We have the GDOT Innovative Interchange Concept Plans for I-285 and Roswell Road, presented by Josh Seagraves, Andrew Farmer, Andrew Smith, all with Gresham Smith. Gentlemen, you please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Joel Seagraves with Gresham Smith. I'm going to be presenting the I-285 at Stair Route 9, the Innovative Interchanges Scoping Study that we put together. I do want to point out that before we start this is it is a scoping study with the only deliverable being an approved concept. It is funded through scoping, and that is it right now. First off, we'll go through some existing conditions of Roswell Road and 285 and the surrounding city side streets. Here's a location map. You see it's just west of 400 at 285. A little bit more detail on a location map. The red that you see are previously identified historic districts, environmental resources. Currently, the interchange is a tight urban diamond or a 2D. If you hear me say 2D, I'm speaking to the existing interchange configuration. 285 in the area has got 10 lanes. There's barrier-separated collector distributors along 285. Roswell Road is 4-lane. It's median divided. It's a principal arterial. Carries approximately 40,000 vehicles a day through the interchange. Lane widths on Roswell Road, currently they vary from 10 to 11 feet. The border width or shoulder varies from 10 to 16 feet and includes 4 to approximately 9-foot sidewalks, side paths. 285 through here has a variable speed limit. The 65 miles per hour is used for the design of the initial ramp curve. I have it right here. The Roswell Road speed limit is 35 miles per hour. Existing right-of-way along Roswell Road varies from about 60 to 220 feet. I do want to point out that that 220 feet is up at 285. That's your widest right-of-way due to 285's right-of-way in the area. The project is mixed-use residential and commercial. The ramps off of 285 are 2 to 4 lanes currently. They're 12 feet with 12-foot wide lanes, and the ramp shoulders vary from 8 to 12 feet. Our local roads include, but are not limited to, Lake Placid Drive, Northwoods Drive, Allen Road, Carpenter Drive, and Cliffwood Drive. All of these city streets within the limits range from 2 to 4 travel lanes with widths varying from 10 to 11 feet. They all maintain a variable border width, 10 to 16 feet, and the sidewalks in the shoulders range from 4 to 10 feet in width. You can see that our posted speed limits vary depending on which side street you were on. We have a lot of previously identified historic resources, and we saw that on my location map with the red boxes indicating history. We have at least one stream in the area. Allen Park is located nearby. It is not within the project limit, but it is close. There will be ongoing coordination with the 285 express lanes for noise mitigation. I don't want to keep going. Y'all can't see it. Let's see. And there's still ecological resource surveys that need to be completed for this particular project. Now the fun part, the alternatives we've considered. Our first alternative, alternative one, was a displaced left It was not chosen as the preferred alternative in part due to benefit cost and it not fitting with what you see in the blue there is it's a footprint that Gresham was provided for the future express lanes, and our displaced left just was not going to size to fit vertically nor horizontally with those top-down express lanes. So that was a parameter that we had to take into account on every alternative that we explored. The next alternative, alternative 2, when it pops back up, is a single point or a SPUI. Same reasons. Alternative 1 wasn't chosen. Very low benefit cost and does not fit well or at all in this case with our top-down express lane parameter. Alternative 3 was taking the existing 2D or tight urban diamond and adding capacity in the form of left turn lanes onto the ramps, off of the ramps, and increasing level of service and operations with the existing configuration. The bridge would be replaced in this instance. This also wasn't chosen due to a lower benefit cost ratio. It does fit within the current footprint that we were provided of the express lanes, but with a lower benefit cost, it was not the preferred alternative in this study. Alternative 4, which is our preferred alternative, is a DDI or diverging diamond interchange. This provided the highest benefit cost and fit well within the express lane footprint. And here's our preferred alternative. Go to the next one. I have a little bit better zoomed in view. This is south of 285. I would like to point out here, south of 285, except right up by the interstate, the right-of-way varies from 60 to 70 feet. But very narrow right-of-way footprint for what we need to do here. This is north of 285. Our right-of-way here varies approximately 70 to 90 feet. Our typical section width for Roswell Road through this area is roughly 100 feet wide. To just put in perspective some of our challenges with right-of-way and having an operational interchange. Total project cost for the preferred alternative for the DDI is estimated anywhere from $70 to $85 million. As mentioned in the beginning, the only thing funded here is the scoping phase, right-of-way utility construction, nor PE or preliminary engineering. None of that is currently funded. We have potential effects and other highlights we would like to point out on this. We are not anticipating any controlling criteria, exceptions, or variances. We are anticipating at least 3 at this time, variances to GDOT standard criteria. These being median usage, we are not going to be able to fit a 20 to 24 foot wide median as policy calls for through here. Access control may need to be variance due to proximity of driveways to our ramps. And a design variance for lateral offset to obstruction may need to be pursued due to the proximity of poles, buildings, and other features that are inherent to an urban corridor. There are currently 23 anticipated parcels. There's one potential displacement. That would be, there's a gas station on the south side of 285 that currently the existing sidewalk is almost up against the filler caps, and any widening there is most likely going to displace. Our required right-of-way, as mentioned before, we have a really variable right-of-way footprints from 60 to up to 220 feet up by the interstate. Proposed, we are going to go from 60 to 75 at our minimum and are going to take up to 260 feet up at the interchange. With this corridor already being very built out and commercialized, that's right away is a challenge through here. There are several utilities, as I'm sure a lot of people in this room know, that run through the corridor, both underground and aerial. The utility adjustment schedule for this project will be complex, and it will require very close coordination with utility owners and the contractor. This is a major project, thus a public interest determination policy and procedure is going to be recommended. This is just a graphic depicting all of the utilities in the corridor. You see there's electric, traffic control, gas, water, sewer, some ITS running through there. It's typical utilities in a very built-out urban corridor. This is the north side. There are several attached to the bridge. More project effects. As everyone knows, there's a lot of congestion that exists here. During construction staging, there's going to be some growing pains during construction. The staging will be complex, be a lot of traffic shift, have to close lanes. There's going to be some coordination that has to be done very close with MARTA due to the bus stops located in the corridor in the project limit. As mentioned before, the utility adjustment schedule will be complex and long. There's several projects that are close by that complex and close coordination is going to be required of those two. There are the road user cost here is pretty high per day, so it's possible that early completion incentives are provided. And in this area, our municipal separate stormwater sewer system, or MS4, the policy applies, but again, given the corridor characteristics, exclusions may be pursued just due to the MS4 BMPs being infeasible, should they be proposed. And that is the end of our presentation, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with questions. Who's interested? Ms. Mueller.
I think I'm going to go first. Yes.
Andrzejewski, please go ahead.
Could we go back to the slide focusing on the south side of 285?
Absolutely.
I have a number of questions about this segment, and I think some of my colleagues may take
Okay.
more of the north side, so we'll try to divide and conquer
Sure.
a little bit. So first of all, I want to say thank you for the presentation. I think, at least for me, I recognize this is a very busy intersection, and it's suboptimal, and so some work needs to be done. But I will tell you, I have a number of concerns of sort of how this is going to impact some of the surrounding businesses and residents. And I'll start, number one, by saying you may or may not know this. This is probably one of the most pedestrian traffic areas of the entire city of Sandy Springs. Okay. There are a number of neighborhoods and residents who walk to work, walk to the bus stop. So walkability and some of our plans that we've had for this area will be directly impacted by this, and probably not so much in a positive way because we're just increasing traffic and increasing lanes. So I'm wondering if there's ways that we can work on that, and I'll get to some of my questions. So the first property that I wanted to ask about, if you mentioned the gas station that would be displaced. Can you talk a little bit more about why, I guess, the rationale behind that, and what would happen? Would GDOT buy the property? Like, what would happen? I'm
not going to speak to what GDOT might do. I have Nebu with GDOT sitting back here. But the reason I mentioned that displacement, existing, it is very close to the road, and I'm afraid it's hard to see from way back here, but you have the filler caps where the truck pulls in and fills the tanks. They are in between the canopy and the road right now, and so any widening, regardless of alternative, any widening there, I'm afraid, is going to impact A, the tanks themselves, or B, a truck's ability to get in there and do what he needs to do and leave.
And that's property number 7
That
on the
is
map?
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So across the street on property number 8, that is also a gas station.
Okay, yes.
And
With the car wash, right?
With the car wash. So have you considered whether that might be a potential displacement as well?
Given the location of the filler caps, I don't think it's going to be a displacement. I'm not as confident there as I am as parcel 7.
From this map, it looks to me like the only way to access that gas station would be from the cul-de-sac because you're cutting off access to Roswell Road. Is that correct?
That is correct in this current configuration.
I would suggest some more discussion with GDOT about whether that is a displacement, because if you're cutting off access to the gas station from the main road and the only way you can access it is from 3 right turns off of a cul-de-sac up a side street, I think you probably need to talk to that property owner and figure
Okay.
out what's going to happen.
And I don't disagree.
Okay. The property number 10, are you all aware of what that is?
I'm going to open that here. So
Okay.
I can,
I can, it's Center Ice Arena.
okay, the ice arena.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about Center Ice. So there are very few indoor ice rinks in the state of Georgia, and they're very busy. Sometimes during the holiday season, they could have 15, 20,000 people come through in December. And again, from this map, it looks like you're cutting off their access to the main street.
Correct.
The little red line that's at the bottom of the right-of-way acquisition,
Yes, sir. That's right.
is that going to result in a loss of that property to them? And part of the reason I ask is there's parking spaces down there that is already tight on parking.
Right.
So would that mean they're going to lose parking spaces?
They could without having full field survey. I can't tell you yes or no right now. Is it possible? Yes. But, without full field survey, I'm not confident enough to tell you one way or the other.
Okay. My very strong suggestion, and I know there's representatives from GDOT in the room too, is that there needs to be a lot of community engagement
Okay.
around this, particularly for these properties. And I would really encourage you to get them in a room and listen to their concerns and try to figure out if there's some way to mitigate the impact on their businesses. And there may be something they can do together. I don't know.
Sure.
But they're just looking at this map and knowing how this area is used. This is it's great for the cars moving through Roswell Road. It is extremely disruptive to these small businesses
Okay.
Along Roswell Road, including the property it's at number 6 and 4, which are changing the driveway in and out of those as well. There's some other small businesses there that I before this is finalized, I think there needs to be some discussion about how this is going to impact them.
Okay.
On the 8-foot multi-use path,
Yes.
did you consider whether you could do a 10 or a 12-foot path?
I don't think I can fit a 10 or 12-foot path with the current information that I have,
Okay.
which is GIS and aerials. That's something that will have to be determined in preliminary design when full field survey is available. I welcome a 10-foot path, but it's an uncertainty, and I don't want to overpromise.
Yeah, I hear you. I think you probably know. So 10-foot path is sort of the minimum of what's recommended by best practices for multi-use. This actually really should be more like 12 or 14 foot because of how dense and high traffic this is. So this is challenging in terms of encouraging walkability in this area. And I guess the same question I have on the path, it looks like there's a sidewalk or multi-use path contemplated in the middle of the diverging Diamond interchange, like in the middle of Roswell Road.
That is how pedestrians will cross the bridge. It's very similar to Jimmy Carter.
So will people actually be able to walk like down the middle of Roswell Road?
It's approximately 19 feet wide, yes. And it will have barriers on either side of it. It's a barrier-protected, multi-use path across the bridge.
Okay. Yeah, I would also, I would just encourage this to be an ongoing conversation because this is obviously a huge project. And I really am just going to say again, to wrap up at least these initial questions, community engagement is going to be really important here.
Sure.
To figure out ways to mitigate the impact to these small businesses that are really core to our community, as well as the residents in the area who walk this area daily.
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
Okay,
I have a couple,
go ahead.
just if we can finish the south side.
We'll work our way left to right, okay?
Yeah, so on the part about the community outreach, I concur that there should be lots of it because there are so many residential units around there. And my ask would also be that it's a multilingual and that it's not just in English because that's a very diverse community. My next question for you is, can you just give us a little bit of insight when we talk about these are historical areas? What is it that's historical about them?
I'm going to think about that. Do you have the concept report? So
Those,
Andrew can speak to
those
that.
areas were identified as part of.
Tell me who you are, sir.
What? Hi, my name is Andrew Farmer. I'm also with Gresham Smith. Those areas, as part of our study, we were only scoped to do a desktop screening for potential environmental areas. Those areas shown in red were identified via some other projects within the area. So we thought to include them.
And identified as what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The potential historic districts, just based on the age and qualities of the properties.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
And then my next question is, this project is intended to completely replace the bridge?
Yes.
Okay. That's it for me.
Ms. Mueller?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the north side of 285. It's mostly my district, which is District 3, and there's a small portion of District 6 that goes over there. So I think that we all agree that this is a chronically challenged, traffic-wise intersection. Even with the changes and improvements that have been done over the years, it's still congested almost all around the clock. I think that this is the project should be evaluated not only in terms of the lens of moving cars efficiently, but also as far as pedestrian mobility and some bicyclists. I guess we're planning for the future there. But unlike other diverging diamonds that GDOT has done at Ashford Dunwoody, which is not in our city, and then at Abernathy Road, those function very well, but they also were not in as the changes weren't in a dense area where we have a lot of residences, we have a lot of businesses. So while we need to focus on the traffic, we also need to focus on the businesses and the residents. And I know GDOT generally, you kind of do that, but that's not your focus. And I'm going to ask throughout and give you some data that I would like us to consider that. This area does have, especially north of 285, has not just businesses, it does have townhomes, it has condominiums, and has apartment complexes. So the question I have is, are we going to be improving the vehicular flow through the intersection, but we're going to create a worsening local conditions for the neighborhoods, businesses, and pedestrians?
Can I ask for clarification on
Sure.
on worsening? What's
So I think, especially if you're talking about like the cul-de-sacing, when we look at this, I'm going to talk. I'll first. So one of my questions is done on the southern part of the diagram here, where you have the north access road.
yes?
So I would like to understand: could we make that a connection all the way through to Carpenter Drive? Because just south, I think you on the one diagram, GDOT has noted that it's apartments. It's actually condominiums, and there's 93 of them.
Okay.
And just if you go around, I mean, I do have the total numbers. I can give you
Right.
breakouts. When you look at there's a total in this whole area. If you look at the upper and lower on the north side, you have 324 single-family homes, townhomes, condos that are there. You also have 650 apartment units that are on both sides. 353 of which are market rate apartments, and 297 are senior living.
Okay.
You also have 22 commercial properties, and if we include the District 6, there's 25, 12 of which are noted on your diagram with the numbers. And we have one park which is a little bit out, right? So we do have people who travel along this corridor that would be going to Allen Park, also walking there. That's one of our more heavily used parks for basketball and soccer. And then we have a few undeveloped parcels, but those really aren't in play here. So I think I just want to give you those numbers to just show you that
Thank you.
there's a lot of other things other than cars that
Correct.
travel through here. And I know while you're focused on that, this is really a much bigger impact. And the corridor is very active, and I would like to see it continue to be active. So with that, I don't know if you have any comments, and before I get in, I have a couple questions.
I was going to, on your North Access Road, and kind of going back to mine and Mr. Chinsky's conversation, without having field survey, from field visits and aerials and GIS, there's a pretty big grade change right where I've got that North Access Road ending. I didn't want to take out half of that parking lot, showing that connection. So again, I don't want to tell you yes or no. Could it be connected? Sure. But without having field survey, I can't tell you that for certainty without taking out somebody's, all their parking and knocking the building out in the process. There's a 10 or 15 foot grade change right there.
But I would just ask that, I mean, there are several, I think there's, 3 or 4 businesses on that side. There's 17 single-family homes. There's 93 condos there, plus you have the senior living facility that's over there as well.
Okay.
And I know that I have received comments from the senior living facility that when the residents are out walking, they do have to cross the road to get to the sidewalk on the other side, and cars do today travel further, pretty fast, and now might be having a little bit more with the cul-de-sacing, because people can't go out and get onto Allen Road. They'll have to go all the way around.
Right.
So that would be a concern, I think, for the Campbellstone community that lives there. And then I also had a question of if the bridge is part of the Express Lane project now, right? Is that true? Is it going to be part of it?
I believe.
Debbie?
The question was, is the bridge part of the Express Lanes project now? Is that the understanding?
Could he come to the podium?
So I can't,
Can he come to the
sir,
podium,
I can't hear
please?
you. Why don't you come up front and talk to us, okay? And please tell us who you are.
I'm Nabiyu Nagash with Georgia Department of Transportation. I'm the program manager for Metro Atlanta
So you're
area.
from GDOT, right?
Yes.
Perfect. You're the guy we want to talk to.
To answer the question, the bridge part of this project will be included in the 285 Express Lane project. Our commissioner has already sent a letter for the city mayor.
Okay, and then, so what does that mean for the timeline for this project? Because I know this is a study, but is there anything material that may come out of the discussion tonight or the public open houses that would have to get in short order because of the integration, the expansion of the bridge now being put in to set up for this project on the road? You understand?
Yes,
Okay.
I do understand. The bridge will be part of the express lane. However, as mentioned by the respective council, the community engagement is critical, but the other part of the project will need preliminary design, as mentioned by the design team. During the preliminary phase, the public involvement needs to be included, and that will come up from survey. So the ground survey hasn't been done. Impacts are not really clearly indicated at this point. We have this scoping only project. The outcome of the scoping project was concept report. We have the final draft concept report now prepared by the design team. That will be presented to the GDOT executive management to be approved. However, we'll take into consideration the request to have that public engagement during this phase, and the team is in preparation for presenting for the public.
Okay, so I'm hearing we have some time.
Yes, we do.
Not a lot, but some.
Yes.
Okay. Has there been any consideration for noise mitigation or sound wall opportunities for evaluation down near Allen Road Park and then the Atwater community? This has been a long-going discussion. That community was platted, I believe, and not built the last time a sound study was done in that area. So is that going to be part of this project, or would that be part of the 285 Express Lane project, that sound study?
Currently, the project that we are presenting today is at scoping level, which is early concept, so I cannot speak for the noise barrier. If it was included in the 285 projects, the P3 division will notify the city.
Okay. So that's still ongoing. I think that I just want to raise that as a continued concern because we've spoken to, I think, your colleagues when they've been here about that. we talked about the North Access Road. Something else with the cul-de-sac of Allen Road. I'm just wondering, have you considered any of the traffic increase that might happen on Cliffwood Way, as well as then through the plaza that's there? I think, what is it, the plaza at City Springs? Because there's a private road that goes through there. So my concern is with that cul-de-sac, are those roads now going to see an increase in traffic? And if so, what evaluation has been done on those roads?
So there was extensive traffic modeling done during this scoping study. And with these cul-de-sacs, that the existing traffic coming in and out of the cul-de-sacs was pushed up to Cliffwood and Carpenter. And it resulted in a very minimal, we're talking a handful of seconds increase in driver delay. We're not talking, level of service changes or anything like that. It was a minimal delay, but we did take that into account. We did push that traffic to respective signals, and we took that into account. To speak on the cul-de-sacs a little bit, I know that's come up several times. Again, currently with this being a scoping level concept study, that is what makes the interchange function well. If I open those up, they're going to be opened up into the ramps. Mm-hmm. The other option is moving the intersection, but moving the intersection, you can see, moving the intersection would take out full parcels, full buildings, in order to move those intersections out of the ramp. And again, I sound like a broken record. It's a scoping study. We just,
right.
There's some things that we just do not have all the information in order to be able to determine right now.
Yeah. So your model focused on intersections. I guess the roads that I'm speaking of are not intersections. So with signalized intersections. So Cliffwood Way is just down from. I think it's the first road after the plaza.
Okay.
And then there's also a private street that goes through that plaza. And if anyone's ever been in that plaza, it gets pretty busy, and traffic through there is already pretty dicey.
Right.
With so I'm just concerned about a private road that's not set up to handle maybe additional traffic, as well as Cliffwood Way, because Cliffwood Way, where it intersects with Cliffwood Drive, there's no intersection. There's no signalized intersection there. So I don't know what that would mean for cars coming up there if there's an increase in traffic. So I don't know if there's a way to study not just signalized impact, but the nearest crossroad intersections.
Right, I understand. And
our scope for this study was really from Roswell Road, from Cliffwood Carpenter down to Lake Placid to the south, including the interchange.
Well, these roads are in between there, right? So they connect, right? So Allen Road connects to Cliffwood through Cliffwood Way. Right. So I'm just saying, these are in the study zone. I think they're in the circle that was on the main, one of the slides.
that is something I can get you an answer to, because we do have a VISM model built. It's a micro traffic simulation. And I'd have to check with our traffic folks. I can get you an answer.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
Not today.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Right, correct.
So I'm not suggesting close off the cul-de-sac or, change them, open them up. I know that we have to make progress, but I just want to make sure that we're not making things worse. So you asked me what I meant by things worse, and this would be making things worse.
I am fairly confident that our traffic engineer included side roads in his rerouting of traffic, but I don't want to tell you that with utmost certainty without looking at it first.
Okay, I'd be interested to see that. And then there was talk about a MARTA BRT station at some point in this area. Does this project at all impact that, or does that project impact this?
So we've had a couple meetings with the BRT team, and first off with that, there's no funding for their BRT. It's very conceptualized. And my take with BRT is like they're willing to work with this project with the express lane project. So there's a lot of coordination ongoing with BRT and MARTA. But yes, I'm aware of that possible.
So it's kind of like whoever gets there first. Yeah. And then we go, okay.
Who can come up with the funding first?
Correct.
Okay. And then a question, I know that our city staff had submitted questions and feedback. I didn't know the status of that. Have we answered those questions? Have we responded to them, and are we planning on responding to them?
Is that our meeting?
Yes, we met with the city staff back in October 2025, I believe. We did send responses back to city staff addressing what questions we could answer.
Yeah. Actually, there was, so I attended a meeting, and I believe Councilman Paulson and Roberts attended in January.
Yes.
And that same list was provided, and I still am not sure that they've been responded to.
Yep, we sent a response. We had a nice spreadsheet that was provided by city staff, and we sent it back with what we could.
Okay,
after
so,
the meeting.
but you said October, and that was January, so I just want to make
October.
sure it's the same.
Yeah, and it's important to note that with this concept, there are several answers that will have to be determined during preliminary design if this
Okay.
project ever makes it to that stage.
All right. I wasn't aware that they were responded to. I didn't think that they were, so I would just ask that if we could double-check that, I'd appreciate that. And then, do you know when the public open house will be scheduled for this?
We are hoping to have a public involvement meeting, public open house this year.
Okay.
So initially, we were, I think, trying for spring, but I think that's going to get
Okay.
pushed back, maybe end of summer. I'm not sure. I can't provide you
Okay,
an
so
exact date.
I thought this report was going to be done in April, so obviously.
The report will, yes, but public involvement may not necessarily be completed yet. And that's typical a lot of times for concepts. A lot of times, we don't need full public involvement prior to having a concept report.
Okay, well, that's a little disappointing to hear, actually. It would be good, I think, to get the public's input before you publish the study. And then one final question is, so what's the reality of any potential modifications to what's presented here tonight? I know this is just a study, but often studies are reality. And are we able to impact any type of changes to help the businesses, the residents, as this evolves? Or is this what's presented going to be what happens?
I can carefully say that, yes, changes are possible. It's going to depend on what the changes are, obviously. But with this being just a concept, as long as we're not changing the interchange configuration, the number of lanes drastically, yes, it's an early stage scoping concept. It's still a fluid concept. There changes can be made within reason.
And, I wanted to speak briefly just about, there's a compromise between access for the businesses and then safety, both for pedestrians and other road users. The concept as we have presented now is maximizing the safety, and a lot of that's by eliminating the driveway access off State Route 9. If you take out the signalized intersections and then the interchange ramps, there's currently 78 pedestrian conflict points along this corridor from Lake Placid to Cliffwood Carpenter. I think as we have it presented now, we're looking at 10 proposed conflict points. So I know that y'all have mentioned pedestrian safety several times this evening.
Yeah, and, whatever we can do to help our residents also navigate would be greatly appreciated. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, please.
Could you go back to the south side?
Certainly.
There's been a lot of talk about the business problem, and a lot of these businesses won't be there when you complete this thing because of the impact of it. Now, I'm seeing where the service station is. I guess it's a Shell station there on that corner that you cut off their driveway from Roswell Road. You can only
Parcel 8.
access it from Northwoods.
Correct. That's the current configuration. That can
Okay.
be adjusted if
But
it
you
needs to
got
be.
you got a cut in the curb still there. And on Lake Placid, you got a cut in the curb. One going north, one going south. Is there any way to connect a roadway to those cuts in the curb to feed these businesses on Northwoods that you're actually basically putting them out of
So
business.
if I understand correctly, you're asking, is there a possibility for an access road?
Yes.
So
From Lake
that
Placid
was,
to Northwoods.
that was looked at early, actually sketched up and taken out due to that giant hole behind those businesses. Those businesses are all held up with I think it's a gabion wall. It was hard to see with all the kudzu on it the last time I was out there. I'm not going to tell you it's impossible. Would be very expensive, and I mean it's doable. We sketched it, just sketched it out, fleshed it out. We discussed that probably back last summer and decided to remove it from the south side due to the constructability and cost associated with it. Not to mention it would require it would impact more of those large transmission poles that are running down Roswell Road. So it is possible, but it was removed due to cost and constructability.
Okay, well, now, you mentioned something about filling the hole. We know there's a hole there.
Right.
We also know that GDOT moves a lot of earth.
That is correct.
And there's no way they could come in and fill that hole?
Like I said, I'm not telling you it's impossible.
Okay.
I don't want to speak
All right.
directly for GDOT.
Thank you.
Dr. Kelly?
No.
All right,
A couple follow-up questions.
go ahead.
Thank you. For the gas station on the east side of Roswell Road that's being displaced, and if you look back for the one that I think you need to look again, whether that counts as a
Parcel
displacement.
8, yeah.
For parcel 8. So these are gas stations. There's tanks underneath them that cost a lot of money to clean up for redevelopment for something else besides a gas station.
Sure.
Is that a cost that would be covered by the project, or is that something that the property owner is then going to have to bear?
So the project, I'll just kind of lay out typical is you do UST studies, underground storage tank studies. You get to a phase 2. A phase 2 is going to tell you what's there, what needs to happen. Clearly, we know there's tanks there, and that would be part of the project. That would be done under the contract.
I'm going to double down on what Councilmember Mueller said about let's try to have some public open houses or at least individual outreach to these property owners before the design is finalized. This is a very major impact to some big pieces of land that
Sure.
I really think it would save a lot of heartache and headache later on for you all to do that before the design is finalized. With this many cul-de-sacs, did you all consider how this could impact police and fire response time? I mean, we talked a little bit about some of the residents that live there. You know, Laurel Grove on the north side is in my district, and for police and fire to get there, they're not going to have to go all the way around Carpenter Road, whereas before they could just go sort of the short way in Carpenter Road. Is that something that was in scope for you?
Honestly, with it being a 6-inch curb, any fire truck or ambulance or emergency responder is going to be able to go over it if he needs to. So I mean, you're correct. They are cut off technically from driving on the road through there, but it's not a. I don't think it's not a hindrance.
So the plan is for the police and fire to jump over the curb and go into the cul-de-sac?
Not
Are
the
you actually
plan.
telling us that now?
Not
That's
the
really what
plan.
you're saying?
I'm saying it's possible. It's not the plan. But, you know, there's cul-de-sacs in a lot of places. You know, it's got to be planned for. You're right. But, you know, it's not, you know, again, no, it's not, you know, we're not scoped to look at EMS. I mean, it's.
Yeah. I would suggest you have a conversation with our police and fire departments about that issue, please.
Sure.
Because that is a much more roundabout way to have to get to these properties and a public safety issue.
Sure.
Last thing I'll say, I know you are not taking notes because you're up here speaking. Hopefully you have a colleague somewhere in the audience taking notes. Okay, great. If not, our meetings are recorded. They're online. If you have questions about what we said, please refer back to it and reach out to us because this is obviously a big deal.
Sure.
Thank you.
Ms. Ford.
One final question. Can you just big picture help us understand how this project may proceed? So there may be a design later this year with public sessions, and then just what are the big chunky sort of milestones? And
Sure.
I think you made the point it's not funded. We're just trying to figure
Sure.
out,
So-
like, is this 5 or 10 years away, or is it next year?
Time frame, I can't speak to that right now specifically. I can tell you my understanding is, like Nebu stated, that the bridge is being replaced under the Express Lanes project, and there is going to be considerations made for the approach legs it's going to be able to accommodate this DDI. As far as time frame, Nebu, you have a time frame? No. So we don't have I can't tell you it's going to happen in, next month, in a year, in 5 years. I'm not privy to that information.
Yeah, I would say if this project were to progress through preliminary and final design, it would be a 4 to 5 year progress, 4 to 5 year process to complete the design for this. And
To 5 years to do the design?
just for the design, right-of-way acquisition,
Environmental permits.
permitting. et
Okay,
cetera.
well, even that is helpful information. It's 5 years out. But the interchange, the Express Lane project, does that have a start date?
We are not privy to that information. I imagine
Okay.
it's happening this year, is my understanding. Or at least-
Starting this year?
Or at least the bids. I think GDOT's receiving the bids this year.
All right, so, gentlemen, one of the first slides said your goal was to have an approved concept. Obviously, from these questions, it's our opinion you're a long ways from having an approved concept here. You talk about traffic flow, you don't seem like you're even addressing the businesses that are going to die because of this configuration. All of these businesses south of 285 on the west side of Roswell Road, if people can't get to those businesses, as Mr. Roberts said, they're not going to exist. So the cost of building an access road behind it is one cost. The cost of you causing all these businesses to die is a cost that's got to be balanced with that cost. So I'm just telling you, you've got some impacts here you guys haven't thought through, in my opinion, haven't fully thought through. There's two sides of this, but if all those businesses go away, that's going to cost you guys GDOT a ton of money as well. And then finally, I ask you to put yourself mentally in a car, living in this particular intersection, living just down the street here, and you decide you want to get on the Roswell Road. You've really got kind of a tortuous route based on the way this is laid out to get to Roswell Road.
Coming
Likewise,
from where, sir? I'm sorry.
anywhere in this area.
Okay.
By another example, this is if I have a son who's playing hockey at this ice rink, when this is done, he's got to drive down to Lake Placid, turn right. You've got a little spur moving north, but the spur doesn't seem to go anywhere. So I'm going to have to drive further west, hopefully not all the way to Lake Forest, to come back around to the ice rink. This is a terrible design, in my opinion. You're making life impossible for that ice rink to survive. So my request is mentally put yourself in a car and say, if I'm go to these businesses today, when this is done, how am I going to get to these businesses? And I submit to you, right now, this doesn't appear to be a workable plan for a lot of these businesses.
It's about a half mile for each of the cul-de-sac intersections.
As
to
opposed to
access
200
back to
feet.
State Route 9.
Okay, I'm just telling you, if you make customers go a half mile out of their way instead of just turning in, these businesses are going to go under. That's just the way the world works. So I know we're in the concept phase. It's early. We're 4 or 5 years out. I'm trying to figure out how old I'm going to be in 4 or 5 years. But today's the day. Today's the time to talk about this stuff. And on the north end, this simple connection to Carpenter, where you have that cul-de-sac, and again, there may be. Move that baby up.
Yeah, I'm trying. There we go.
There we go. The cul-de-sac that's at the bottom of the back road for those businesses, to extend that down to Carpenter would save the people that live just right there. It'd save them a half a mile of driving. Because if this design holds, if you live in that complex right next to 285 down there, you're going to have to go out to Carpenter, turn right, make the big loop all the way back up the Roswell Road, as opposed to extend that cul-de-sac to that road.
You're talking about bringing the access road to
Yeah.
Carpenter. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think that's a big ask.
Good.
I mean,
So-
that's reasonable.
So that's good. I'm glad that's reasonable. I appreciate it. And listen, you guys are in a hard spot here. You're trying to present a traffic pattern that improves traffic flow. I get all that, but there's a lot of small businesses here, and a lot of people live in this area. you really impacted them negatively, and I just ask that you consider that as you go forward with this before we get to the approved stage.
Yep.
Fair enough?
And we understand that. And again, this is not to say that we couldn't add additional driveways up and down State Route 9 to access those businesses. There's a compromise there. And
Sure, and I get it.
We need to work through
And
preliminary
there's
design.
a bunch of driveways off of Roswell Road you're trying to get rid of. I get that.
Yeah.
I get it, okay? But put yourself in the car that lives right there, and he's got to get on the Roswell Road. How's he going to do that with this? That's our and our requests. So with that, unless there's, city manager, got something on your mind? I do, but. All right. Gentlemen, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
This obviously is not over.
Yep.
All right. Any city council discussion items before we close the work session? Hearing none, we'll move from the work session, and I hereby call the regular meeting of the Sandy Springs City Council for Tuesday, March 17th to order. Let's have roll call and general announcements by the city clerk, please.
All right, good evening. Just a reminder, please continue to keep your cell phone silent throughout the meeting. Also a reminder, individuals who would like to provide public comment at a city council meeting are required to submit those public cards in advance of the meeting. Those cards are always available online or at the chamber entrance. Those providing public comment may be allotted up to 3 minutes to speak on their single chosen topic. As I call roll, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Paul is absent. Councilmember John Paulson.
Here.
Councilmember Melody Kelly.
Present.
Councilmember Melissa Mueller.
Here.
Councilmember Frank Roberts.
Here.
Councilmember Mary Ford.
Here.
Councilmember Andrew Chinsky.
Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, have we received any comment cards?
Yes, we received one public comment card this evening. Ms. Rhonda Smith.
Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Rhonda Smith, 76 Long Island Place, speaking to you as President of the Sandy Springs Council of Neighborhoods on behalf of our board tonight. You will be considering the approval of the qualified candidates for the consultant instrument for development of the 2027 comprehensive plan tonight. And I have 3 reasons for addressing this important item. 1, a shameless plug, an invitation for all of you, Mayor Pro Tem, and we'll invite Mayor Paul and Council to attend the upcoming March 31st, 6 p.m. Council of Neighborhoods annual meeting to be held in the Abernathy Arts Center Gallery. Our meeting's purpose is to educate and inform neighborhood leaders and residents about the plan and encourage their participation in the public engagement elements. The process will be of vital importance to both the consultants and community's success in the delivery of the highest quality plan product at the end of the 15-month-long process. It will hinge upon resident input and skilled management of the input process. 2, Council of Neighborhoods understands and appreciates that robust community engagement is paramount to ultimately producing that high-quality plan product, a plan that represents the goals and desires of the community to maintain their quality of life. I told our board in our monthly meeting yesterday afternoon that the RHI team, having been the consultant instrument for 2017 Next 10 plan, brings with them a unique advantage in that they get us. There will not be a steep learning curve around understanding and properly capturing the posture of our community, how special we are, what the community focus is, and how best to meet the community where they are to hear from them. What the future holds and how resident input will be instrumental in formulating the best plan is not just up to the consultant team, but also up to all of us who interface with the community, whether it be through our email newsletters or social media. We will also be a vital information source and delivery vehicle. 3, just take a look today at the zoning cases map, and you will see a trending approach to residential land use of assemblages and lot splits. How will this be best managed going forward? What elements of the comprehensive plan and our development code should address this trend? How will that be reflected in the future direction of the character of protected neighborhood and the policy around it? Policy that is reflective of the community goals and desires for maintaining quality of life while our city continues to grow, develop, redevelop, and evolve. Council of Neighborhoods looks forward to working with the recommended consultant team, making a contribution to the comprehensive plan, and helping to bring the community to the table so they are heard throughout the entire process. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. There's only one? Thank you. All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilman Mueller.
I move that we approve the meeting agenda for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026.
We have a motion by Councilman Mueller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Ford. Is there a motion to approve? I'm sorry. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Dr. Kelly.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Dr. Kelly moves approval of the consent agenda for March 17th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Ford. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
All right. All right, so we've moved on. Moving to public hearings. Will the clerk read the first item?
This is agenda item number 2026-067. Consideration to conduct a public hearing on the 2026 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan. This is presented by Planning and Zoning Manager Michelle McIntosh Ross.
Ms. Raj.
Yes, hello, greetings. Okay, oops. All right. So I'm here to announce the 30-day comment period for the 2026 Annual Action Plan, which is the AAP. And this is a component of the CDBG program. No action is required this evening, just making this announcement. The city is required to create and update its annual action plan, summary of annual activities for the use of the funds from the CDBG program. And if you recall, back in early of 2023, the city adopted the 5-year consolidated plan where it was recommended that the money would be used for sidewalk construction, design, utility relocation, and potential right-of-way acquisition, and also that we may use some of those funds to defease the 108 loan amount. The projects that we are working on are the Roswell Road multi-year sidewalk project. This runs along Roswell Road inside I-285 from Northwood Drive to Stewart Drive and from Stewart Drive to Long Island Drive. There's also a proposal for the Hope Road sidewalks to follow when we get the design done, and we're recommended to do that. It is in the north end of the city along Roswell Road to Dunwoody Place. The schedule towards the adoption of this annual action plan, as I mentioned, the draft will be put out for public comment, and then we will be back in May 5th at the council meeting to recommend approval to adopt the annual action plan for 2026. But again, no action is required tonight, just making that announcement.
Thank you. Have we received any public comments? Okay. All right. So you mentioned that this plan is available. Is it in print here or is it online?
Yes, it's available in print. It's also online.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. No actions needed.
Correct.
All right. Next item. Will the clerk call the next item?
This is agenda item number 2026-068, TA 26-1, consideration of an ordinance to amend the development code, also presented by Planning and Zoning Manager Michelle McIntosh Ross.
Greetings again. Okay. This item before you tonight is a text amendment, TA 26-1. This includes a few proposed development code edits that staff noticed while working through the code. The text amendments proposed are annual fixes. Some of the corrections are material, while most are simply clarifying descriptions, writing omissions, or even improving hierarchical ordering. The proposed amendments, staff believe, will improve the development code in small ways. Staff recommends approval of the recommended changes, as well as Planning Commission recommends approval, and recommended that approval at the February 18th regular meeting. So first we'll start with Article 6. In Article 6, which are general rules, in Section 6.1.2.b.3, mechanical equipment and utility lines, in the subsection E and F, where the placement of mechanical equipment is regulated, that is HVAC and pool equipment, we saw the number of, one of the most requests for relief of that section code was for the placement of mechanical equipment. This metric of repeated requests for variance is a helpful indicator that the code may be too strict in that particular area. The proposed update would allow the director more flexibility and discretion in granting administrative variances of this particular code section. It proposes that the director could grant a more than 10% encroachment into side and rear setbacks on a case-by-case basis. The proposed allowable discretion by the director will be limited to no more than 5 feet from any property line, and mitigation measures remain in effect. Please note that this does not apply to generators. We discussed that they may be too loud to encroach any closer to any setback. So we're making that edit. In Article 7, this is our allowable use table. And staff recognized there was a discrepancy between the text in the Comprehensive Plan and Development Code, where the narrative includes civic uses as an intended use within the office neighborhood ON district, but this was not reflected on the allowable use table. This proposed amendment is to correct what we believe is an error on the allowable use table by adding a P for permitted to allow the government facility in that district. Also in Article 7, this is in household living. This table is a list of the ground level street frontage use requirements for multi-unit development. This table currently sits under the limited use standards. We're proposing that the entire section move from limited use standards, which is from G3D, and move it up into basic use standards in G2B. And this moves up the hierarchy for more clarity. In Article 8, this is related to signs and sign illumination. I will start with the next one and go back. In Section 8422C, it talks about sign illumination. In parts of C.3 and C.4, neon and LED lighting is mentioned to refer to tube-style lighting. However, now tube-type lighting may not always be of neon or LED technology. Our proposed edit captures the intent of regulating these types of signs without limiting the technology. In C.3, where we talk about allowing neon open signs, we're adding the section in the blue, you'll see, LED or similar lighting material or technology styles. And this will include other lighting technology that may create the neon tube type sign. And also in C.4, we say, this is also to help clarification, expose neon tubing and signs containing words or symbols shaped or formed directly from neon tubes, LED lighting, or similar illuminating devices are prohibited. So we're trying to capture all of those. We'll go back to the previous one, which also is related to this neon situation. In 8.4.4.C.2, window signs, a similar edit is proposed regarding window signs. Subsection C.2 mentions neon, but we again want to capture the style of sign regardless of technology. So we're proposing to add language to include, in the blue, LED, or similar lighting materials or technology used for an open sign. So those are our edits. As I mentioned, staff recommends approval of these edits, and Planning Commission also recommended approval of these edits at their February 18th regular meeting. That is my presentation.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, have we received any comments?
We have not.
Thank you. So no comments. So, hearing the report by the Planning and Zoning Manager, Ms. McIntosh Ross, what's the desire, Council?
Mayor Pro Tem, I
Dr.
move approval of Agenda Item 2026-068, an ordinance to amend the Development Code.
I have a motion by Dr. Kelly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ford. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of Agenda Item 2026-068, consideration of an ordinance to amend the Development Code, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Or the motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business. Will the clerk read the first item?
This is agenda item number 2026-069, consideration of a resolution to approve an agreement by and between the City of Sandy Springs and the Fulton Perimeter Community Improvement District for the Peachtree Dunwoody Road Sidewalk Project, and to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement. This is presented by Public Works Director Marty Martin.
Mayor
Good
Pro
evening,
Tem
Mark.
and Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight I bring to you an agreement between the city and the Perimeter CID Fulton to construct a sidewalk on the east side of Peachtree Dunwoody Road from approximately the Interstate 285 westbound exit ramp up to the Palisades development. That being a continuation of the sidewalk that was built into the I-285 400 interchange project, but stops just at the westbound ramp. Immediately adjacent to this project location, to include Lake Hearn Drive and Peachtree Dunwoody Road on the west side, is our PCID-funded and city-administered, as well as Federal Transit Authority-funded, Peachtree Dunwoody Road at Lake Hearn project, which will ultimately bring side path up Peachtree Dunwoody Road, in this case up to Hammond, from the existing sidewalk and side path at Transform 285 up to Hammond Drive, and then hopefully a continuation on with the last mile connectivity project on Peachtree Dunwoody Road, again further north on Peachtree Dunwoody. And this fills that gap that was left with the Transform 285 400 project, as well as connecting into the existing path infrastructure already created by the Georgia Department of Transportation with 285 400. To further the project, CID has volunteered to take the lead in design. And as well, in this case, this would be a proposed 50-50 share on the CID agreement with PCID to advance this sidewalk project and connect all parts as we move through this important interchange here. To that end, with further in the advancement project, overall cost estimated at $400,000. The city and CID would split those costs, 50% each, at $200,000. CID is taking the lead on design now as I speak, and then we would ultimately get the construction contractor to execute the project when design is completed and we're ready to go. And again, 50-50 cost split. CID will begin the cost. If we owe more on design, which I don't anticipate at this case, more will go there. Very likely we'll fund the majority of construction, CID funding a little bit when we get to that point and we're ready to go to construction. That's how the agreement is structured, however, and we've entered into other similar 50-50 split projects with the CID and look forward to advancing this simple project along as a companion to the CID or to the much larger FTA-funded Lake Hearn at Peachtree Dunwoody Road project.
Thank you. You've heard the report from Mr. Martin, our Public Works Director. What's the desire, Council?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Ms. Ford.
I move the council approve agenda item 2026-069, a resolution to approve an agreement by and between the City of Sandy Springs and the Fulton Perimeter Community Improvement District for the Peachtree Dunwoody Road Sidewalk Project, and to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
We have a motion by Ms. Ford. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Roberts. All right. Any discussion, folks? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of agenda item 2026-069, resolution to approve an agreement by and between the City of Sandy Springs and the Fulton Perimeter Community Improvement District for the Peachtree Dunwoody Road Sidewalk Project and to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Marty. Will the clerk read the next item?
This is agenda item number 2026-070, consideration of a resolution to award a contract to Roadside and Harwell Incorporated for professional planning services for the city's comprehensive plan update and Recreation and Parks master plan update, and to authorize the city manager to execute the contract, presented by Planning and Zoning Manager Michelle McIntosh Ross.
Ms. McIntosh Ross.
Okay, greetings again, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. This item before you tonight is a request to award a professional services contract for the Comprehensive Plan Update 2027 to 2047 and the Recreation and Parks Master Plan. As you know, the Comprehensive Plan serves as the city's primary long-range policy document guiding land use, development patterns, housing, economic development, and environmental sustainability. The Recreation and Parks Master Plan will provide strategic direction for the city's park systems, facilities, programming, and long-term investment priorities. Together, these plans will guide the city's policy and capital planning decisions for the next 20 years and ensure the city remains in compliance with the Georgia Department of Community Affairs planning requirements. The city issued a request for proposals, RFP 26-027, on December 19, 2025, seeking qualified consulting teams to prepare both plans. The RFP detailed a scope of work describing the services required for the comprehensive plan and the Recreation and Parks Master Plan update. Proposals were due on January 26, 2026, and the city received a total of 5 proposals. One proposal was determined to be non-responsive to the submission requirements. The remaining 4 proposals were deemed responsive and advanced for evaluation by a staff-comprised evaluation committee. The evaluation process and methodology. The evaluation process followed the performance price procurement methodology, the performance price trade-off procurement methodology, which evaluated proposals based on 3 criteria. Technical acceptability, which includes project approach, team qualifications, and ability to deliver the scope of work. Past performance and demonstrated experience, and also the cost proposal. An interdepartmental evaluation committee with representatives from community development, recreation and parks, communications, finance, public works, and the city's manager's office reviewed and evaluated the proposals. The evaluation results are such. All 4 firms were determined to be technically acceptable and capable of completing the work described in the RFP. The primary differentiators among the proposals were the past performance and the overall cost. 2 firms, Clarion Associates and Roadside and Harwell, received the highest performance rating of substantial confidence, indicating strong experience and demonstrated success with comparable planning projects. Among these firms receiving the highest performance rating of substantial confidence, Roadside and Harwell submitted the lowest cost proposal, resulting in the strongest overall value for the city. The recommendation is, based on the integrated evaluation of technical capability, past performance, and costs, the evaluation committee determined that the proposal submitted by Roadside and Harwell represents the best value for the city. Roadside and Harwell proposed a highly qualified multidisciplinary team with extensive experience in comprehensive planning and parks planning. And as mentioned by Rhonda Smith, she noted that we had worked with RHI before, while the city has worked with this firm previously for the 2017 and 2022 comprehensive plans. The recommendation before you is not based on prior relationships, but rather is based strictly on the evaluation criteria and the merits of the submitted proposals. Staff therefore recommends to the Mayor and City Council to approve the resolution awarding the contract to Roadside Harwell to prepare the Comprehensive Plan 2027 and 2047 and the Recreation and Parks Master Plan update. That is my presentation.
Thank you. You've heard the report by our Planning and Zoning Manager, Ms. McIntosh Ross. What's the desire, Council?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Ms. Mueller.
I move that council approve agenda item 2026-070, the resolution to award a contract to Roadside and Hartwell Incorporated for professional planning services and for the city's comprehensive plan update and recreation and parks master plan update, and to authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
We have a motion by Ms. Mueller. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Is there any discussion? Mr. Chinsky.
Thank you for the presentation. I just want to say we talked a lot at the retreat about innovation, and we talked a lot about community engagement. So the policy nerd in me is particularly excited about the surveys and the conjoint study that we've done with this. So I know I've probably talked my colleagues' ears off about this enough, but for the community, a conjoint study is a somewhat specific type of survey that helps us value different attributes, in this case policy preferences, against each other. It is not unprecedented in the municipal space, but it is relatively innovative. And it's a way that we are going to be able to reach all aspects of the community and really get the type of objective data that many of us up here like to have to create policy and to govern. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to working with RHI, and thanks for all the care that staff put into soliciting these proposals.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Ms. Mueller.
So, again, I'm super excited about this, just like I think we all are. When will council get to see who will be on the stakeholder groups?
The mayor appoints the stakeholder committee.
I guess maybe that would be a good thing. I don't know if the public or even if all of us know. Can you just walk us through how this works at the stakeholders and how they're appointed and the oversight committee, and just talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's state required per the Georgia Department of Community Affairs to have a steering committee for your comprehensive plan. They recommend between 15 and 25 people on the committee. In the city of Sandy Springs, the mayor appoints those members, and those members will be integral to our planning study. We'll meet regularly. We asked our consultants, whoever will be on board, to chart out their tasks. So they will be getting tasks to spread the word throughout the community, and also to bring back issues and policy direction to the project management team.
So the mayor appoints both to stakeholder groups and the steering committee?
It's one and the same.
Okay,
yes.
But the stakeholder groups are all individual.
Yes, so the stakeholder groups, yes, we'll make recommendations for the stakeholder groups, the focus groups. There'll be several members of the community and the business community and so on. So there'll be several different meetings there. But as far as the comprehensive plan stakeholder committee, that would be an appointed
and
group.
Unlike other, I would say, appointed commissions, to commissions and boards, the council does not have to approve those. Is that correct?
No, it'll be at council.
Oh, so we will get to approve. Okay, I didn't know that was
Yes.
part of the process. Okay, thank you. And then I had a question about the number of pop-ups for the apartments. So it looked like in plan right now there were about 5. Did I read that right? And I mean, given that we have 96 apartment complexes, how are we selecting? I mean, is there specific criteria? Because obviously, if there's 5 pop-ups, we have 6 districts. Are we focused? I mean, how is that going to work? I'm just curious about the pop-ups for the apartments.
So this number is a minimum of 5, is what we put in there.
It's minimum,
yes.
okay.
So we wanted to make sure that we captured these minimum numbers in here, but it could be more. But of course, when we get with the consultant team, we'll definitely be talking about how that will work.
And then will there be any kind of criteria for selecting which apartment complexes are going to be selected?
That is to be determined. Okay. And I also want to add to the previous question, these pop-ups, as we see as the minimum number involving the consultant team. Me and my planning staff, we love to do pop-ups, and we'll go out and do it on our own. So there may be more.
Okay. And then similar to what Councilwoman Ford asked, some of these, will they be in bilingual in
Yes,
different parts
we've-
of our city, correct?
We've requested that,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments, any discussion? So point of clarification, I suggested all council members that have somebody they'd like to recommend to the steering committee, send that recommendation on to the mayor. He pulls all these names together, and then he makes a decision, but he typically comes in front of us with his recommended list. But if you got somebody in mind, make sure you send it to him.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of agenda item 2026-070, resolution to award a contract to Roadside and Harwell Incorporated for professional planning services for the city's comprehensive plan update and recreation and parks master plan update, and authorize city manager to execute same. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank
The item's
you.
approved. Thank you, Ms. Ross.
Thank you.
Will the clerk read the next item?
This is agenda item number 2026-071, consideration of an ordinance to approve an amendment to the FY 2026 budget to transfer funds from the capital contingency budget to the temporary fire station number 1 budget, presented by Director of Facilities and Capital Construction, Dave Wells.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem,
Mr. Wells.
members of council. The next two items pertain to the temporary fire station 1. This first one here is the ordinance for a budget amendment. The new fire station 1 is in design phase and will proceed with the construction following pre-construction activities. To maintain uninterrupted emergency services during a demolition of the existing station, the city will need to lease and improve a temporary facility for fire station operations. Funding is required to support both the design and build-out of the leased temporary facility, as well as associated costs necessary to make the space fully operational. This includes architectural and engineering services for the interior layout, life safety systems, apparatus accommodations, utilities, communications, infrastructure, and required code compliance upgrades. The budget transfer from the city's capital contingency funds is necessary to fully fund the design and construction of the temporary fire station and to ensure operational readiness prior to the demolition of the existing station. This approach maintains continuity of services while preserving overall program delivery timelines. Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the transfer of $300,000 from the city's capital contingency budget to the temporary fire station number 1 project F2602.
You've heard the report from our Director of Public Facilities and Construction. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Ms. Ford.
I move that council approve agenda item 2026-071, an ordinance to approve an amendment to the FY 2026 budget to transfer funds from capital contingency budget to the temporary fire station number 1 project budget.
We have a motion by Ms. Ford. Do we have a second?
A second.
A second by Mr. Roberts. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor of agenda item 2026-71, an ordinance to approve an amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget to transfer funds from capital contingency budget to the temporary fire station number 1 project budget. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion carries. Will the clerk read the next item?
This is agenda item number 2026-072, consideration of a resolution to approve a commercial lease and letter of intent with JAT Partners LLC for fire department use and to authorize the city manager to execute a letter of intent and a commercial lease. Presented by Director of Facilities, Capital Construction, Dave Wells.
Mr. Wells, go.
Yes. The fire department will require temporary operational space to maintain continuity and emergency service during the demolition and construction of the existing fire station. To ensure uninterrupted service delivery, staff evaluated potential off-site facilities capable of accommodating fire department operations, including firefighter living quarters and necessary support functions. The property located at 8615 Roswell Road has been identified as the most suitable option based on the operational needs, site configurations, and availability. To secure the premise and to allow staff to proceed with final lease negotiations, staff has negotiated a letter of intent as well as commercial lease that JAT Partners LLC outlining the principal lease terms. The letter of intent with JAT Partners, LLC provides a framework for a 24-month lease of approximately 10,000 square feet of flex space at 8615 Roswell Road, including on-site parking to support the fire department's operations during the demolition and construction of the existing station. Key lease terms include a base rent of $15,000 per month with a $15,000 security deposit, reimbursement of prorated real estate tax of approximately $833 per month, and other customary operation expenses like utilities and camp fees. The premises will be used for firefighter living quarters, a full working kitchen, and necessary department support functions. The letter of intent also includes a 6-month renewal option with no increase in rent. Approval of the execution of the letter of intent will allow staff to proceed with preparation and execution of a final commercial lease in accordance with the mayor and council authorization. Staff recommends approval of the letter of intent and commercial lease between the City of Sandy Springs and JAT Partners, LLC, of property located at 8615 Roswell Road, Sandy Springs, Fulton County, Georgia, 30342, and request the authorization of the city manager to execute the letter of intent and the commercial lease. Mayor Pro Tem, I do want to point out one scribe error on the agenda memo. We had actually listed the general manager because this was under the PFA before, and it should have been city manager. So,
duly noted. You've heard the report of the Director of Facilities, Capital Construction, and Building Operations. What's the desire, Council?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Dr. Kelly.
I'm going to move approval of agenda item 2026-072, approval of a commercial lease and letter of intent with JAT Partners, LLC for fire department use, and to authorize the city manager to execute a letter of intent and a commercial lease.
I have a motion by Dr. Kelly. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Chinsky.
I do have a question for discussion.
Yes, any discussion?
You actually kind of referenced it. I was wondering why this wasn't in PFA.
Because it's coming out of, actually, because the funds are coming out of the operational funds of the fire department to pay for the lease, so that's not PFA money.
Okay, so the council can approve a commercial lease? We can do that for 2 years? Okay. I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Any other discussion items? Quick question. It's a 24-month lease. What happens if we finish early? Is there an early out?
We will negotiate that into the lease, yes.
And please do that. All right. If there's no further discussion, I call a question, agenda item 2026-072, resolution to approve a commercial lease and letter of intent with JAT Partners, LLC for fire department use and to authorize city manager to execute a letter of intent and a commercial lease. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item's approved. All right. Will the clerk read the next item?
This is, agenda item number 2026-073, consideration of an ordinance to amend Subpart A, Chapter 26, Article 4 of the City of Sandy Springs Code of Ordinances related to massage establishments and spas, and to provide for an effective date and for other purposes. Presented by City Attorney Dan Lee.
Mr. Lee.
Council, I bring to you tonight a proposal to amend the massage licensing ordinance in Sandy Springs. Historically, the regulation of massage therapy has been challenging for local governments, as is many licensing programs, in an attempt to control and police abuses of this industry while not inflicting any hardship or getting in the way of recognized, well-meaning therapeutic assistance that licensed massage therapists can provide. What we bring to you tonight is what we think is an updating and clarification of our ordinance to match state law. Sometime in 2007, Georgia legislature saw fit to create the Georgia Massage Therapist Board that licensed massage therapists in defining what a massage establishment is and what massage therapy the definition of massage therapy. The proposal we bring to you tonight is a comprehensive review by all staff members, from the licensing department, the revenue department, a thorough investigation by our police department and code enforcement to bring to you what we think are the needed changes in this licensing process. One clarification this ordinance makes is that it applies to everyone working in the industry. One of the new problems we have in the massage therapy policing business is that it has become a target of human trafficking throughout the country, and especially in this area of Georgia. Our police chief is here and can report to you some of the findings of the sting operation that was conducted by the police department. We hope that some of these recommendations in this ordinance will help curtail that kind of activity in Sandy Springs. One of the major issues in this ordinance that is a major change that you won't find in Georgia is that this ordinance would require that anybody seeking a license for massage therapy establishment in Sandy Springs is required to have a state-issued massage therapy license. Just like lawyers run law offices, pharmacists run pharmacies, a licensed massage therapist would run a legitimate massage therapy establishment. It's a simple order. It gives the city the ability to take advantage of the requirements that the state law provides. And some of those are embedded in these changes that I'm offering up tonight. We offer up the same exemptions that the state law applies. This would not apply to doctors, physical therapists, other licensed practitioners recognized by the state. In our current ordinance, we license the business and the owner of the business, and then we require people who work in the business to get a permit, much like we do the alcohol businesses. In doing that, this ordinance requires that everyone that works in a massage establishment is required to take a human trafficking recognition program recognized by the police department. And I want to report to you that our police department, even before this action started, requires that every member of the police department take this program offered by the Department of Homeland Security. It is a great program. Again, just as a side note, very excited to see that our police department, our staff is on the cutting edge of this idea, way ahead of a problem that we hope this ordinance addresses. One other significant change in this is that just like the state law, and this is directed right at the human trafficking issue, you are required to be a U.S. citizen or in the United States with documentation offered by Homeland Security in order to make application for this program. The sting just conducted by the police department found many violations of this part of the proposal. We're told by the experts in this field that not having that documentation is the gateway for this human trafficking element. It's an intricate part of this discussion. One other significant element here is that the license holder, as opposed to the permittee, the license holder is required to furnish a roster of everybody that will work there, their jobs, their addresses, and their phone numbers. And just like federal law, just like state law, just like the procurement and purchasing policies of Sandy Springs, they must e-verify every employee. Currently, the ordinance allows that massage establishments can be open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. This ordinance would require that they could only be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. This ordinance change prohibits overnight stays in massage establishments. That is a problem. The police department sting found that many folks that were victims of human trafficking were being housed in the massage establishment. Some of the victims of this human trafficking were living in the homes of people who are purporting to be the operators of these massage establishments. This ordinance would give us a guideline to help curtail that and help the police stop that. There's a device being used in many illicit massage parlors called a table shower. This would prohibit the use of those devices in Sandy Springs. One other major change in this is that, and this is a modernization of our entire ordinance. You'll remember we've done it in other areas. This removes the appeal, it changes the appeal process and removes the mayor and council from the appeal process. If we revoke licenses, and we will be bringing to you the revocation of at least one license, the appeal of that is to the city manager, not to the mayor and council. For lots of reasons, there is no political element to this. It shouldn't be brought to a legislative body. The appeal to the city manager is much quicker, much more succinct, and I would submit to you a technically oriented process, as it should be. With that, those are the changes to the ordinance, and we would recommend that the council adopt it. I'll answer any questions you have.
Thank you. You heard the report from our city attorney. Do we have a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Dr. Kelly.
I move approval of agenda item 2026-073, an ordinance to amend Subpart A, Chapter 26, Article 4 of the City of Sandy Springs Code of Ordinances related to massage establishment and spas, and to provide for an effective date and for other purposes.
We have a motion by Dr. Kelly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Mueller. Any discussion?
I do have a question. You're.
Dr. Kelly, go ahead.
Yep, thank you. I guess by bringing this forward, you all are confident, you and police chief, you're confident that this does enough, at least, to address some of the recent bad acting that we've seen.
Yes. I would add to that the review that has been done by the police department and the city manager's staff also includes some changes in the enforcement of who has a business license, who didn't get a business license. So the enforcement of this will be changed somewhat too, which will further curtail this kind of activity.
Okay. This is probably outside of the scope of this ordinance, but one of the interests I do have, especially with our next 10 conversation commencing soon, is about things we can do with respect to land use and these type of uses in general, since there's such a negative connotation. So specifically, I'd like to entertain at some point proximity restrictions to schools and churches. Thanks.
But I had a couple of things I omitted. That is something that the police department and community development have been working on. And hopefully, along with massage therapy guidelines and some other business uses in Sandy Springs, we'll be bringing that back to you. I want to point out, too, that just as a point of outreach to the community, especially the legitimate, and I'll use that word, massage therapy community, the police department, with no less than the police chief himself, has conducted an outreach to many of the legitimate massage therapy establishments in Sandy Springs, and far and away, most of them are very supportive of these changes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a couple of quick comments. At the last meeting, we had some business owners from massage establishments come in and talk to us. Did you talk to those folks, Chief?
I did. And there were several here, but I think the meeting lasted so long, we only have one left.
Okay. As long as you talk to them, because these are legitimate businesses. They want to be able to continue on. And then finally, this human trafficking course, how long is this course? Is it 2 days, 5 days?
It's an online course, just, less than 15 minutes.
So an online course, okay.
It's very eye-opening. I'd recommend it to all the members of the council.
Well, I was going to say it might be required for our citizenry as well, or at least make it available to them so they know. All right.
Mayor Pro Tem, on that
Certainly.
note, I did go online to find the class. I believe it's the Blue Shield classes by the Department of Homeland Security. They are informative and they do not take very long. So, yes, I think that this is unfortunately an awareness for us, the degree to which we have human trafficking here in Sandy Springs, and for all of us to be more informed and aware is an appropriate thing. So I also highly recommend them.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor of agenda item 2026-73, an ordinance to amend subpart A, chapter 26, article 4 of the City of Sandy Springs Code of Ordinances related to massage establishments and spas to provide for an effective date and for other purposes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. The motion's approved. Go get them. Will the clerk read the next item?
This is agenda item number 2026-074, consideration of a resolution authorizing the introduction of local legislation for the placement of a referendum on the November 2026 general election ballot to grant redevelopment powers to the City of Sandy Springs, Georgia, as provided by Georgia law, presented by City Attorney Dan Lee.
Council, many of you have discussed finding tools that would help the council endorse redevelopment, places for redevelopment in the City of Sandy Springs. One of the tools that we have not made use of is the Georgia Redevelopment Powers Law. In that, tax anticipation districts would be allowed, which is a wonderful tool used by many local governments to set aside tax growth in certain areas to be applied to the improvements, infrastructure improvements, and to incentivize private developers to provide certain amenities to a development that would positively affect the community. In order to do that, we need an act of the legislature. The legislative delegation would like to have a resolution showing that the council endorses this local legislation. The local legislation is necessary in order to put this on the ballot, which means the people of Sandy Springs would have to authorize this. And the measure before you tonight is that resolution endorsing the local legislation that would put the measure on the ballot to see if the people of Sandy Springs wanted to grant to the council the redevelopment powers.
And that's not in our charter currently?
It is not.
All right, thank you. You've heard the report from our city attorney. What's the desire of council?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Mr. Chinsky.
I move approval of agenda item 2026-074, a resolution authorizing the introduction of local legislation for the placement of a referendum on the November 2026 general election ballot to grant redevelopment powers to the City of Sandy Springs, Georgia, as provided by Georgia law.
I have a motion by Mr. Chinsky. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ford. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor of agenda item 2026-74, resolution authorizing the introduction of local legislation for the placement of a referendum on the November 26 general election ballot to grant redevelopment powers to the City of Sandy Springs, Georgia, as provided by Georgia law. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. All right, Mayor and Council reports. I have two quick items. I received an email today from the, hang on, let me pull it up, from the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation, recognizing the Keep North Fulton Beautiful as being recognized as being a responsible environmental group, and I wanted to give a shout out to the Keep North Fulton Beautiful folks. This was just, I just got this letter today, but what's that? We all did. Yep. Do you all get it? Okay. So anyway, that's on the record, and I want to acknowledge that. And then the second is, I found out that this morning, Mr. Clark Howard, who you all know, was talking about the City of Sandy Springs, and it's particularly interesting because we're a city, we've just turned 20 years old. We were like this flagship of this grand experiment in local government, and Mr. Howard had some comments on this. Do you have that record, the recording?
Caroline should have it ready to go. You ready?
Please.
what's going on in Sandy Springs is such a great example of local rule. You know, it's been 20 years since the city of Sandy Springs was created. And before then, the people of North Fulton, in the area that's now the city of Sandy Springs, felt completely lost. And Sandy Springs, once it formed, was able to control zoning, police protection, and other local services. And that is what led to the creation of all the new communities around Metro Atlanta. And it's crazy how many local governments we have across the metro area. But in this case, it was crazy like a fox. It makes a difference for people to feel that the government they're paying taxes to is responding to them. And Sandy Springs showed it can really work.
There you have it.
I always liked that guy. Thank you. Any other mayor and council reports? Yes, Ms. Mueller.
So this past weekend was the opening day for Sandy Springs Youth Sports. Mayor and council were there. Mayor sang the national anthem. That's a very hard song to sing a cappella. So it was a great day. I think that might have been one of their largest turnouts ever. The kids are so excited. That was a very fun thing. And I also would like to give some recognition to my council colleagues for extending their outreach to their constituents. So I'd like to recognize Dr. Melody Kelly for her first time that she's, I think, on council is doing a streaming for North End Live. So I think she had her first one, and the second one's coming up. So I think that's a great way to, and so you've set the bar high for us. And I also like to recognize new council members Ford and Chinsky for getting their newsletters out. So I think that's it's great. If you want to go, you can probably sign up for the different newsletters. We have some of the same, but it's very different from the take of our district. So please look at the Facebook and sign up. And you beat me to it when I think it took me three or 4 months to get it. So you guys are already ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Any other mayor council reports? John. Yes, Mr. Chinsky.
If anyone ever wants to come to an 8U softball game, let me know. I have it's a couple times a week at Morgan Falls at this point. Just to add, immediately before the meeting tonight, I stopped by the Sandy Springs Education Force STEAM Showcase at North Springs High School. SSEF is one of our fabulous nonprofits working to help our public school kids and lots of different programming both over the summer and after school. And really a great turnout for the event, and it's very exciting.
Thank you. It's always inspiring to watch these young folks, what they come up with.
They actually had a robot that introduced the chair of the board of SSEF. Someone had programmed it with software to give a whole 2-minute introduction. It was very cool.
That's good stuff. Ms. Ford.
In the spirit of community and involvement and engagement, I'll just remind our, especially District 5 neighbors that live in the High Point area, that the High Point Civic Association is holding their annual meeting next Wednesday at 5:30 at the Church of Atonement, and it'll be a great opportunity to get updates about what's happening in our city, especially related to the District 5 area. So thanks to the organization for hosting.
Thank you. Any others? All right. Staff reports. What do we have?
Just one.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening. This is your review for January 2026 on audited financials. We are at 58.33% of the fiscal year. The revenues are at 75.37%. Yay. And and expenditures are at 50.06% of the budget. Just a reminder that pages 9 through 28 identify all of the general fund departments for your review, and everyone is still operating within the approved budget. And this concludes your financial review for January 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Carlisle. That was a great report. All right. With no further business, do you have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion by Mr. Roberts to adjourn. Do we have a second? A second by Ms. Ford. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, folks.